Welcome to Beyond Sports. We have an awesome episode of Beyond Sports for you this week. Starting us off, we've got Stevie Stone here with us, joining us today. How you doing, Stevie?
I'm doing well. How you doing, brother?
Doing very well. Well, thanks for coming back on, man. We loved having you on the first time, so great to have you on here to
Yeah.
talk some Nuggets versus Lakers with us. Last time I
Oh man.
know that's what you were hoping for going into the playoffs. So, you called the game five, I have to say. So, what are your thoughts here after game four? 3-1 in the series now. How you feeling?
Man, I think the Nuggets may be in a little bit of trouble. I think the Lakers gonna win tonight. I think it's gonna go seven. I'm calling seven now, and I'm calling Lakers in seven.
That's tough. That's tough. I mean, tonight's the biggest test for the Lakers because winning in
Absolutely.
Crypto Arena, while definitely hard against the Nuggets, still home team advantage. Tonight, it's all Nuggets home team advantage. So, very interested to see how this home crowd's going to react. I think the fans are really excited at the moment about what's going on with it. So, for you, Stevie, what do you feel like is the key to beat the Nuggets? What did you see in game four that you liked about it?
Um, Being aggressive, taking it to the cup. I think once they are doing that, that's when they're playing the best Laker basketball. Um, and I think that I know that closing out a team is going to be the hardest thing in the playoffs, especially a team when you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? It's going to be a good game tonight, but I just have a feeling that the Lakers are going to pull it off tonight.
Yeah, and the Lakers, I mean, are definitely rolling four players over 20 points in game four. Anthony Davis with a crazy game,
He's
23
leading
rebounds,
he's leading
24
the
points.
playoffs in points and rebounds, if I'm not mistaken. So Anthony
That
Davis is playing good.
Wow, yeah, and he has really shown up outside of I believe it was one game where he had a bit of a struggle at the end of the game. He had a great game leading up to the end, but outside of that game, I think that was Jamal Murray game in game two. But outside of that game, he's played very well. LeBron has played very well. I think it's a question of when is D'Lo going to play well every game, and to see him do the flip that he did was pretty impressive for D'Angelo because that game three was rough for him. That was
Yes,
rough.
and he has. I think that D'Lo has to do that in order for the Lakers to win. And I think that he actually that's something in his mind, and he's got to go out and just play D'Lo type of ball. My quick question is Murray playing tonight?
So that's the question up in the air. Personally, I think in a closeout situation game, just knowing Murray's mentality, I think he is going to come in wanting to play. I think unless it is something very serious or something that could like severely injure him, I think he will play. On the other hand, we've seen historically he can get hurt. So it's always that question of do we want to play it safe and try our best? And I think the Nuggets still have a shot without him, but we
You guys
definitely need him on that team.
and you guys are 3-1 right now too, so you actually got a little leeway
It's
to
true.
give him a little bit more rest. I do think that's going to be big. Health is everything for the playoffs.
Hmm.
Um, Not to get off the subject, but look at the Bucks and Pacers.
Crazy series.
You know what I mean?
Crazy series.
And I know
Yeah.
we've spoke about it before how the Pacers like low key have the Bucks number, but crazy to see how the injuries come, and that's a part of the playoffs being healthy. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. It's not just the scoring. It's not just being on the court. It's being on the court, being
yes,
able to play. And that's kind of an overlooked thing when it comes to these playoffs. And some people don't really understand. I mean, you have been through the tour life and,
yes.
going from place to place day after day after day. And those players do it too. And I mean, I'm sure it's tough and it's not for everybody.
Boom, and then it's like at the end of the year, even in the NBA playoffs, everybody's not healthy.
Right.
The most healthiest team and you know what I mean, that's the
Yeah.
one that's gonna usually, you know what I mean. So
Hmm.
yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited for tonight's game. I wish I could have got up there and went to the game with you again, but I think that we'll have another chance on Game Seven.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll definitely have another opportunity to do so. I'm excited for this game as well. Coming as a Nuggets fan, I want to see a closeout game five with the home crowd. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping
Right.
for a double-digit win. I think the Nuggets need to secure a double-digit win if they are going to win with how they played so far. Because in my opinion, if they are going to beat the Lakers and then go on to the next series, they're not currently playing at the level they need to even remotely beat the Timberwolves, who just came out of the Suns. So for me, it's like we have to focus on game 5. We can't keep pretending like, oh, well, what's going on in round 2? What's going on in round 3? Because that's what everyone's talking about is round 2, round 3, the finals and the Nuggets. And it's like, guys, we're on round 1 right now.
And
Like,
that's
get
the
your head
problem.
in this game. Yeah, and we
You
need
can't.
everyone to show up.
Yeah, you need everybody to show up, and it's one game at a time. One thing about it, I know we spoke about it off camera. Me and you up there speaking about 3-1. LeBron being in a position of 3-1, and the Lakers being in a position where it's 3-0. And if there's anybody that can do it,
That's
the
true.
Nuggets about to face those people. There's
Yeah, and
anybody
that
that can do it,
LeBron
they're gonna face those
mentality.
people. Yes, yes, yes. And like I said, I know it's gonna be a super exciting game. It's dope for me because I like Denver as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's just Lakers is number one for me. You feel me? So
right.
you know what I
So
mean. So
what first got you into the Lakers? What made you such
well,
a big Lakers fan?
I've been a Laker fan since back when Kobe and Shaq was there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
What a
I've
time.
been a Laker fan really since then. But a huge LeBron fan since he came in. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
followed LeBron from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland. Uh, Now, of course, the Lakers. He's at a historic franchise, so it's like super dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's cool. Yeah, like you said, you like Denver, you like LA. It's almost a win-win situation, but I understand, you got to cheer for the Lakers.
Yes,
We got to
yes,
have the Lakers fans out there, even
yes, yes,
though
yes.
we're not friends today, it's all
Oh, we
good
still
fun though.
homies. We still home. We still
Oh, I
friends, but
know.
you know
I
what I mean?
know. I'm gonna be cheering my heart out tonight though for sure. And I'm not necessarily worried about the Nuggets, but man, they're looking exposed right now. That bench is looking weak, and I
That's
think we
important
really
right
need to
there.
improve it. Yeah,
That's important. The bench is everything. You know what I mean? And man, like I said, man, it's going to be Lakers is not going to fold tonight.
yeah,
They're going to play their butts off like they've never played before. I do know that, and we'll see how Nuggets show up. I mean, being
right.
in Denver with the crowd, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Comes down to the game plan, healthy, and seeing what's happening. You know what I mean?
And that altitude can get you, man. Like especially if you're not coming here often. Like it's a little different. And I think that's a
I
bit
think
of an underrated thing too.
this is the playoffs, though. If
Yeah.
if you having issues right now with stamina, something's wrong.
Yep. Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true. Yeah, I mean, you got to leave it all on the court tonight. Game 5, win or go home for the Lakers. Big situation for them. I think they definitely are going to leave it all on the court. I know LeBron. I've watched too many series go up and down with him in it. Just like you were saying, the 3-1 finals. I mean, that was unbelievable.
Yes.
And if anybody could do it, LeBron could do it. So I'm still always concerned, just as an NBA fan, that if anyone could do it, LeBron could do it. I
Yes.
totally agree with that. So, what are some of your predictions tonight? Who do you think is going to be the big Lakers star tonight? Who's their MVP?
LeBron James. I think
Yeah, you
LeBron
think?
James is going to sit there and control. I don't think he's going to shoot many threes. I think he's going to be super aggressive. I think he's going to be trying to get his teammates involved early. I think fourth quarter, that's when he'll go ahead and get loose. I see it as a close game.
Yeah.
Um, and I see just Lakers edging it out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout by either team. I think it's going to be biting nails, edge of the seat, the whole game. I'm super excited for the game. I can't wait to relax and get, you know what I'm saying, set up and
Yeah. Get
sit there and
right.
watch it. Me and you will be talking through the whole time too. I
Oh
guarantee
yeah.
that.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yep.
sir. I know I'm going to be on the edge of my seat as well. I'm going to be yelling,
Oh
screaming,
yeah.
everything. This is like we said, do or die right here. So for the Lakers, I could see LeBron coming in as the MVP. This is arguably one of the greatest players who ever lived. So it's no question who's going to show up tonight for them. I think for the Nuggets though, I really want to see Nikola Jokic get aggressive. It's kind of hard to say that when he dropped 33, 14, and 14 in a loss, but I want to see him really getting after the ball and like getting those points when they're having the slumps. And I love Jokic, but he gets a little passes sometimes when we're getting in those slumps, and it's like, hey, instead of Murray taking the shot, Like you get in there, you know. So
Right.
I'm excited to see that from them. I want to see a really positive game from Murray. You know, obviously he won us game two and he's played decent, but not his normal playoff game. So I would really like to see those two, you know, lead us home. Like you said, LeBron, you know, I think it's the same thing for the Nuggets. Had the leaders lead and take him to a victory. I do think it'll be a battle for sure. I think if the Nuggets can play their best basketball, though, we'll see. Because when they get in that groove, you know, and they haven't hit it yet in this series, they've been playing
Yes.
very bad basketball, in my opinion, this whole series, except for MPJ. Got to give shouts out to MPJ. He's been playing well. But do you think D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves are going to drop 20 tonight?
Yes. I think between 17, Reeves and them at least 17 points apiece. I do.
Yeah,
I think the stars are going to come out tonight
they
on
have
both
to.
sides of the court. You know what I'm saying? As far as on the Denver side and Lakers side. And I think that the Lakers do need Vanderbilt. I know Vanderbilt is questionable tonight as well. I think
How
that
long has it been since he played?
it's been a minute. It's been a
Yeah.
minute, but he's one thing he's a great defender. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's
No, he's
long.
very
He's a
good.
great defender. We don't need him to sit there and put up no points. We just need him up in between the lane, slowing down people like Murray or
Yep.
Porter, whoever he's guarding. Slow him down just a little bit. You know what I mean? I think that he
Yep.
can do that. His stamina may not be all the way there, but he'll have bits, spurts, and that's all
Yeah.
we need from him. You know what I
Gets
mean?
a solid 7 to 10 minutes in the game, cause some chaos. I mean, anything can happen. You know, the Nuggets have been a little disrupted this playoff series. It's clear the Lakers have figured out how to cause some chaos on the Nuggets on the offensive side, on both the offensive sides, really, on their defense and then
Right.
through their offense. So, you know, hats off to the Lakers for taking game three and just how they played this series. I think they come in, played tough, you know, reminded everybody why they're good.
I think that it was 3-1 now, but I don't think it. I think it could have been 3-2 already. I think the
Yeah.
Lakers have given up, and it's part of the basketball. You know what I'm saying? It's the way that the
Hmm.
ball bounces, right? Um, and luck is required sometimes too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and they
Um,
closed out those games. I mean, that was kind of the problem. The Lakers had control majority of the game, and then at the finish, that's when the Nuggets came alive because they're like, "Oh, we got to win."
right.
But I just didn't see that same fight in Game Four. There wasn't that same sense of urgency. You know, at halftime, kind of the same story, but no second half flip for the Nuggets. So if the Lakers can play that same like style of play that they did in Game Four, I'm going to be very concerned.
They have something figured out. I think that the Lakers have something figured out with the Nuggets, and you have one of the smartest players, coaches on the court. You know what I mean? And one of the
Hmm.
greatest leaders with LeBron. Like I said, man, it's going to be an exciting game,
Yes,
but
sir.
I have the Lakers edging it out.
Lakers edging it out. We'll
Yes.
see how it ends tonight. But all right, Stevie. So what's the final score? Let's predict that before we go.
Um, 111 to 103 Lakers.
Tough, tough. Well, we're gonna have to see tonight who is right on our predictions. Be sure to
What is
check out the game tonight.
what is your
Oh,
prediction on the score?
I definitely agree that it'll be close. I want to see a double digit victory. I don't think I'm going to see a double digit victory. I like 108 to 103 Nuggets. I think they kind of close it out close, but then eventually, you know, in the game, it's closer to the buzzer. So fingers crossed, go Nuggets. I know you'll be cheering on the Lakers. We'll be
Yes,
chatting throughout the whole game here.
yes,
And
sir.
yeah, absolutely. So we'll be coming back with a bit of a playoff picture here after this break.
Welcome back to Beyond Sports. I'm your host, the Fitted Nuggets fan, and as always is my co-host Bob Taylor.
Hey, hey.
Well, we are coming to you from 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio. We have another scintillating edition of Nuggets Knowledge. Again, for the listeners out there who aren't familiar with this game that Bob and I like to play, one of us chooses a historical Nuggets player. We can't select anybody who currently plays for the team, so it can be anybody who has recently or previously played for the Nuggets organization at any length of time period, mind you. And then from there, we will ask the other person about the stats and everything. We'll try and explain all of the stats ahead of time, making it relatively easy, and then we only get one guess. So it is a do or die situation. Obviously, I think any of us out there had 4 or 5 guesses, we'd probably get it right. So we try to keep it to just one, and that's what makes it difficult. So I definitely had a miss last time we had Nuggets Knowledge, missing out on Danilo Gallinari, even though my co-host here.
I was about to say that was somewhat my fault. I
might have been a little bit of fake news.
Yeah, I accidentally put his career stats, or I accidentally said his career stats as, or I'm sorry, I accidentally said his current season stats as his overall career stats, and those are vastly different.
Yeah.
So, apologies, Danilo. Sorry about that.
Well, either way, I guess that doesn't count then, huh? Are we counting that?
Nah, we shouldn't. Because your whole reasoning was...
that's where I was going to come from.
I was going to pick him, but I didn't think his
say
career...
that.
Yeah.
I said that
so
specifically.
I think
that's
a wash.
Yeah, so we'll just... we'll owe that. But I did say I would pick him if it was this situation. And it was that situation.
Also, apologies to that random Italian guy that commented on our YouTube. I don't know what you said, but it sounded angry based off the lettering. I don't know.
Anyway, so for this whole thing, our goal here is to guess the right player. So I'm up this week. I'm going to try and stump Bob here. I've looked up all my information this week. I came prepared and made sure that, saying the right stats, just to put that out there. But either way, all right, so this week we have a Nuggets player. This guy was selected 47th overall out of Louisiana Tech. Had a pretty long career, pretty early on, getting it done. In his second season, hitting 24 points in one game. So, kind of showing some glimpses of skill. Starting off his rookie season at 6.8 points per game, moving up to second year at 8.1. And then his third year is when he made more of a jump into that somewhat of a role player role. We are hitting 13.5 points per game, 8.6 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. So a lot more effective, only 1.7 turnovers. So a very effective role player, essentially, by his third year in the NBA.
How many blocks did you say? Sorry.
One steal, 1 block per game. And then fourth in most improved voting, and then 6 minute a year, 17th. And this is his third year in the NBA. So... Okay. Yeah, so, that's just how he's getting started off with this guy, trying to kind of paint the picture for you a little bit, mixing things up. But overall had a really effective career, very gifted player. During his time in Denver, though, he averaged 11.8 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, and then 1 steal and 0.8 blocks per game, but still keeping up that efficiency, 1.3 turnovers per game. Overall, very effective scorer, 37.1% from 3. This is his time in Denver. And then overall field goal percentage at 51.9%. So pretty effective player. Yeah. I mean, definitely an effective player overall. Now, this is when it gets pretty fun. So he has 4 All-Star selections.
4 All-Star selections.
4 All-Star selections, but this was how he performed during his time in Denver. I would arguably say his best statistical and overall effective season would be when he had 17.1 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists per game, 1.8 steals, and 1.7 blocks per game. So very elevated from his typical stats, just getting it done all around.
And that was not on the Nuggets, right?
It was not on the Nuggets. Okay. And then he finished as second team all-defense and 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting and an All-Star that season.
Okay.
And he had 4 straight All-Star appearances, by the way. So that also is some good information to know. So we'll kind of cover a little bit more about some of the stuff he might have done with the Nuggets. Looks like some of his higher scoring days are a bit behind him. He dropped 19 as one of his highest scoring games versus his former team, which is the Utah Jazz. He actually played for quite a few different teams throughout. So this player played for the Jazz, the Hawks, the Nuggets, the Nets, and the Sixers.
Okay.
So a lot of different teams, had a pretty long career. Overall career lasted roughly 16 years total. So 16-year career. Played against some legends.
I think I got an idea. How much more do you got for me? A couple things, or?
No, I mean we can do it.
So I'm pretty sure, based off of the fact that you said he was on the Jazz and the Hawks, that we're talking about Paul Millsap.
We are talking about Paul Millsap.
All right.
That is correct.
I didn't know how many times he was an All-Star. I knew he was an All-Star. I didn't know 4. I thought it was closer to 2. But really good to see. Really good to see him getting the recognition he deserved. He's he's high up on my Nuggets list, at least. I feel like that might be a little bit favoritism, just because I like him a lot, like his play style a lot. But I've always enjoyed Millsap as a player.
Yeah, me too. Millsap always came out playing tough, good attitude, solid player. Those are good stats. I didn't realize his time with the Nuggets was that effective. I actually have a correction from what I said earlier. His season high with the Nuggets in 2018 was actually 36 points to beat the Thunder. And in December in 2018, he was actually named Western Conference Player of the Week.
Oh, nice.
And this is like way after his peak. You know, I mean, it's so impressive because his last time as an All-Star was 2016. So this is 2 years removed from that. After a pretty steep decline, his final All-Star was his best overall point statistical season with 18.1, 17.7 rebounds, and then 3.7 assists to go along with a block and basically a steal. But then a sharp decline after that, dropping down to 14.6, 6.4 rebounds, 2.8 assists, kind of dropping everything, then down to 12. And he actually joined Denver that next season after his All-Star season. So I think they were really hoping that you would see a continuation of that. But he had an injury in that 2017-2018 season that really hindered him and ultimately led to his retirement because we just continuously see that decline. Had a decent time in Denver, but declined all 4 years, and then eventually went to the Nets and started going to the threes, and that's when things kind of ended after a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I like Paul Millsap. He's a tough guy. I always remember his bubble jersey when they had the ability to make a statement of some kind.
Oh, yeah.
And it was vote for Millsap. And that was
funny.
really good. And he didn't even mean to do that. That's just how it came out. Like, he got interviewed about that, and he was like, yeah, that wasn't intentional.
That was an accident.
That was just something I'm passionate about, and I happen to have the number 4, and it just turned out that way with the jersey design. And so everybody, if anybody has one, by the way, let me know, because I would love to track one of those specific jerseys down, because I do like that, how it turned out so much. Because I felt like other players could have done similar kind of wordplay with that. It's a unique thing that they did. They haven't done it since. Adding those additional, personal statement words that they allowed that one season. And I wish players had a little more fun with it. Maybe not fun. I guess it's kind of the wrong setting when you're trying to, promote something good out in the community. But I don't know. Vote for Millsap, and we're talking about it. So it's promotion in itself. Yeah, exactly. So either way, though, Paul's one of my, like you said, one of my favorite Nuggets. Especially because,
spot for him.
Yeah, he's got a recent history. He's a beast on the Hawks. Yeah, really good. And he's pretty decent with the Jazz, too, especially on his way out. 17, 16, and 14 points per game, kind of on his decline out of the Jazz. And then being able to bounce back. I mean, that last season with the Jazz, he hit 14.6, and then the next season he was an all-star. But I also think it's kind of strange now with how the NBA is to see somebody getting 4 straight all-stars, not ever hitting over 20 points per game, not ever hitting over 10 rebounds per game, not ever hitting over 2 blocks per game, and not ever hitting over 2 steals per game, not ever hitting over 4 assists per game in any of those seasons. And so the criteria has changed a little bit.
Yeah, the criteria has changed a ton, especially with, Luka, Jokic, obviously. Everyone's numbers are just so insane now because everyone can do everything, it seems. So I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of all-star selections like that in the future anytime soon.
Yeah, I think the NBA is just so full of talent now. I mean, it is crazy. I know
100%.
there's a lot of debate on that topic, but I think that's crazy. The sport naturally develops now. It may not be as organized or as graceful, or you can say a lot of other arguments, but to say that people aren't scoring as much and people aren't as athletic or they wouldn't be able to play in a previous day, I think that's just not necessarily ridiculous, but it's just not possible. You know, with science and everything like this, like we continue to further the sport for the better. And these players get more and more efficient. They get like these guys all can shoot threes. When was that ever a thing?
Yeah.
Since Steph Curry. Before Steph Curry, half the team could shoot threes. Now every
couple
player,
guys could shoot threes.
yeah, like very well. Yeah. Now all of the good role players and starters can all shoot threes well.
And Wembanyama's gonna make that even more disproportionate.
Well, and it's just the well-rounded skill sets that these guys develop early on now.
Yeah.
Like they know right out of the gate, like I'm not just a rebounder. I dribble, I shoot, I play defense.
I gotta
do
do
everything.
everything.
I do every single thing. And we're just going to start seeing a league where it's almost positionless because of just the overall landscape of the league.
And how it has to be. But I will say you got guys like Jalen Brunson, 6'1". What do you have, like 49 last night, 47, something like that?
Well, yeah, but it's a different – they have to develop a different skill set.
Yeah.
And it's what can you play. And I think as long as guys like Wemby aren't coming out of every single draft, then I think guys like Jalen will be fine because of the speed differential. I mean, there's a lot of different genetic things that go into place. But kind of circling back to Millsap here, where are we going to put him as an all-time Nugget? I think this is kind of the hardest one.
So – I've been thinking about this. I think for the all-time Nugget list, I think we have to put him below Gallinari, right? Gallinari had some pretty dang good stats for the Nuggets.
Yeah, I just wouldn't think that Gallinari was very well-rounded the way Millsap was.
I would agree with that a little.
And then I also didn't hear
defensively.
Western Conference Players of the Week awards. I mean, that's when you have to get nitpicky at that point because it's like, okay, what was his prime like? What was his best stretch like? Because these guys aren't winning championships and all-stars and most improved and sixth man of the year. They're not winning these awards. So it's like, okay, well then how can we compare them? And then the only comparison I see is Gallinari gets above Millsap in points, but Millsap beats him in rebounds. Millsap beats him in probably ties him in assists, but Gallinari was more of a scorer.
Yeah,
from what
definitely more of a one-dimensional scorer.
But then a steal and a block from Millsap, and I don't think we saw that. I think we saw a half from each for Gallinari.
Yeah.
So no hate on Gallinari, but Millsap's just a little tougher, a little more well-rounded, pretty efficient too.
And how many years did he play in Denver?
4 years. 4 years with the Nuggets. He didn't play a lot, and I think that was kind of his problem with the Nuggets because – we clearly brought him in here to be an all-star. I mean, he started majority of his games. He only didn't start one game his first season, 5 games his next season, and then 3 games the following season. He started all of those years. So he was meant to be an Aaron Gordon-esque type player. I mean, that's kind of what I look at when I see this. Now,
stat-wise, not playstyle-wise.
Well, I mean, Millsap back in his day, he tried, but no, he's definitely not like that.
He's not catching lobs.
No. Aaron Gordon is significantly more athletic. No offense, Millsap. You're a great dude, but AG is a different beast altogether.
I don't think he'd have an argument about that either.
True power forward, though. I guess we could call it that.
Very definitely.
Millsap is a prototype power forward, and just trying to get that play style with those starts, it just didn't come to fruition. So I don't know. The decline for me makes me want to put him lower on the list as well.
So it makes me want to put him lower on the Nuggets list, but with his entire NBA career, I think he's got a higher up.
For sure. Well, he has a lot more accomplishments outside of the Nuggets is essentially when all his accomplishments stopped outside of, some here and there.
Couple things.
Yeah. And he was, again, tough player, but just not the same guy anymore. But for us, I don't know. I'm going to throw a number out there. I'm going to say 65 for Paul Millsap.
So 65 is where we have Danilo Gallinari.
Ooh. So 64.
So
vote for Millsap. Yep.
I can
4
do
years
64.
with the team.
I think that's a pretty good spot. Because like I said, he's known for outside of Denver for most of his career. So I think let's go to the all-time NBA list. Danilo Gallinari is at 1,700. I think I'd put Paul top 1,000? I mean, 4 All-Stars.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. 4 All Stars is crazy because I mean, how many All Stars have there ever been, and how many 2-time All Stars have there ever been? How many 4-time All Stars? Jamal Murray's never even been an All Star.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, that's crazy to me. Like, 4 All Stars is a lot, and then 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, 2nd team All Defense. I mean, his peak was pretty good. Now, the argument could be made that's circumstantial due to how the league was at the time, but anybody can say that about any player. So we have to go off what was given while he was playing. So for me, I think, I don't know. It's kind of tough. Maybe 600 somewhere, 500 somewhere.
I don't know about
It's the 4-time All-Star, man.
Yeah, but we got Fat Lever at 400, and I don't think those two are necessarily close.
Yeah, it's hard to call. But either way, throw a number out there.
I'm thinking I think we can go 750.
We had Fareed around that.
Yeah, we also messed up on that.
Yeah,
we
that
do
wasn't
got to
best.
be honest. It was our first one. I don't think we quite did that right, but I think that would probably be the best place for him to go. Maybe 650.
Yeah, I could do 650.
Yeah, but all right. I think 650 is probably right around where he should be.
This has been Nuggets Knowledge with Beyond Sports. Follow us on all social medias at Beyond Sports 5280. Feel free to call in live to the show at 720-446-8463. We've got a great interview with Gus Rey coming up after this break. Tune in shortly after this. Welcome back to Beyond Sports. Well, that was a great edition of Nuggets Knowledge, but time now for our special guest this week. We have Gus Rey. He is an artist here locally. He's actually done some collaborations with the Nuggets recently. You might have seen some of his artwork at the Atlanta Hawks game, right? On April 6th it was, right?
The 6th.
On the 6th, yeah. So, well, thank you so much for coming on the show,
Yeah,
Gus.
thanks for having me, man. I appreciate
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're very interested to kind of get to know you a little bit. I'm sure my listeners are curious, what kind of inspired some of that artwork. But before we get there, how did you first get into artistry? Is it something you've been doing very long?
Yeah, really just my whole life. I mean, I was always that kid who had way more doodles in my school notebook than actual class notes,
Yeah.
And yeah, I've just stuck with it. The last 4 years or so, I've started taking it more seriously, pursuing it full time at the moment. And
Oh, wow.
it's been awesome. Yeah, it's just
It's
an
amazing.
ongoing learning process to try and figure this stuff out. But it's been so fun. So.
Well, I bet. I mean, if it's something you've been doing for that long, it's good to see that, you've been able to go full time with it, really make something out of yourself. And obviously, now collabing with the Nuggets, that's pretty amazing. So what was kind of that moment for you would say, when you knew this was something you wanted to do? Like, obviously you've been doing it for a long time, but when was the moment you were like, I really want to be an artist?
I think I've had a number of different 9-to-5 jobs and just not been able to do it. It's I think it's built. The system is built for some people, and I just don't fit that mold.
Right.
So doing art gives me freedom to have my own schedule and just make what I want to be making. Obviously, that comes with the extra challenge of making sure I'm covering my bills and whatnot. But yeah, man, it's been fun, and then being able to do the things that I want to do within that and make sports art or Nuggets art and work with a cool team like the Nuggets, it's cherry on top. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah, and one thing I really liked and enjoyed about your page is that you continue to make artwork, even though it doesn't necessarily seem like it's for a reason, like for somebody, or you're just making it because you love to do it. And somebody that's working full time at it already, it's so cool to still see that you have that love and that passion for it. And I think that's what's going to make you a success in the long run with it. You got to love it, right?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. But yeah, I think a lot of people overlook the fact that, even if you're doing something full time, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily an expert. You still got to make sure you're refining your skills and progressing with whatever is the demand, I guess, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, you got to stay on top of stuff and somewhat invent your own style and
Yep.
trends. So, how would for our listeners out there, on the radio right now, how would you describe your artwork? What kind of style would you label it as? I know that's probably a difficult question.
No, I get asked it more often than you might think. Yeah, I mean, my main style is probably defined as just like a mixture of like vintage poster style and kind of like a cartoon pop art style, if that makes sense. But
Yeah, I would say that's a very accurate
Yeah.
description of the artwork, actually, when you put it that way.
Right on. Yeah, so I do a lot of like geometric patterns and whatnot, and then just kind of loosey goosey drawings on top.
So would you say
yeah.
that's kind of your signature at the moment? You would say that that's kind of where you are most comfortable creating?
I think so. Yeah, but I'm trying to stretch that comfort zone.
So how did you first get into that style in itself? Because you kind of defined it is a very unique style. Like when I've looked at your artwork, I can't really notate another artist, I would say, that has a similar like design style as you. So how did you first kind of create that or fall into that?
Hard to say exactly. I think that just evolves over time. I mean, if you look at the art that I've created since I was in college, it's like way different, and you just figure out something that works for you and keep it rolling. Same with, just any routine really, like you just get comfortable with the whole system, whether it's like starting your day as an artist, like what is the stuff when you start on a canvas or open your computer or whatever, what's the first thing you want to be doing? And for me, it's like I make the framing of a poster. Like I enjoy that process and it feeds the whole system into creating a poster.
So that's kind of where you get started, and then you let the art kind of talk to you after that.
Yeah. And, making basketball posters, it just makes it a little bit easier because I'm thinking, all right, we're working on the Nuggets versus the Timberwolves poster, Denver versus Minnesota. Is there anything that I can build off, with that sort of matchup? And then the rest is just kind of like my imagination to think of something. But
That's a pretty cool process. And I like that you have kind of a thought out process to it. And not to say that other artists we've had on the show haven't, but it's cool to see that you're like, this is where I start and this is how